It's a rite of passage for young Australians to see the world's great cities.
Wowee.
For Tim Marting, the journey's been tougher than most. This is the story of Tim's dream to rebuild his life. A dream made possible by a great Queensland charity, born of love and mateship, and backed by a rock legend. A charity giving young Aussies new homes and new hope. And it's the story of how together Tim, the Nova Brekkie team and yours truly took on the world's biggest marathon to spread the word that all young people deserve to live young.
New York, New York.
Tim is so excited to be going to New York.
Spreading the news.
It's really given him a reason to get out of bed in the morning and get excited. In April 2004, my brother Tim sustained a massive brain injury to the left-hand side of his brain, and it was caused from a massive blow to the left-hand side of his head. Tim was in hospital and not expected to survive the next 24 hours.
Tim's family rushed from interstate and overseas. Despite life-saving surgery, the news was grim.
The hospital and the doctors and everyone were telling us, it's no use. You know, Tim's not ever going to get out of a vegetative state. You know, we all could see past that and we could look into Tim's eyes and we knew something was there.
Hey, Tim. Hello. Look what I brought you.
Oh, God, thank you.
Tim was in hospital for most of that year, but he was still on a feeding tube and not talking or moving much. We were given option many times of putting Tim into a nursing home. That was almost the worst moment of my life because I really did feel that if Tim went to live with a lot of elderly people in their environment, that he may never wake up.
The Martins took Tim home. They left jobs, sold assets, and for 4 years put every cent, every second into his recovery. Under their care, Tim woke up.
It was taking all of us, you know, the whole family to move Tim from chair to bed to whatever. He was helpless.
And during that time we did everything from physio, OT, speech, hydrotherapy, music therapy, and the financial burden and the emotional and mental stress and pressure that this puts on you is absolutely immense.
We were really missing, as a family, just being a family. We were nearly at the stage where we thought we couldn't go on another day.
This is a very personal story, a story about very dear friends of mine, David and Siobhan Connery.
One of the things our family always seemed to do is sit around and watch 60 Minutes on a Sunday night, and we saw, you know, the lovely story about Siobhan Connery and David Connery.
In 2006, 60 Minutes touched hearts across Australia.
It's affected every part of my life.
Siobhan Connery, embattled by multiple sclerosis, needed specialist full-time care. To her husband David's horror, the only option was a nursing home.
Well, I was staggered for a start and then probably largely offended and angered and saddened, and, you know, just to see someone very young and vibrant in a place like that, well, you know, I just couldn't accept, really.
Determined to find a solution, David rallied his mates.
Matt Lawson, Nick Bonifant and Simon Lockyer, all old friends of mine. You know, some of them I've known for sort of 20 or 25 years. Oh, they were as devastated and as frustrated as I was. I mean, they could see it in me, but, you know, they were also, you know, very close friends with Siobhan and was as devastated as anyone about her situation and felt compelled to be a part of a solution.
The solution was to change the system, and so Youngcare was born.
I think it was just such an obvious need and such a massive blind spot in our care system. And the second we got the opportunity to talk about it and tell people about it, they went, "That's crazy."
The action via email, phone, you name it, it was huge, and we were contacted by people offering help in all sorts of ways, but more importantly, we were being contacted by people who were genuinely in crisis.
It gave our family a glimmer of hope that there is a charity out there and there is support and there is an avenue for Tim to have a life.
After 2 years of fundraising, research and partnership with Wesley Mission, building began on the first Youngcare residence in Brisbane's west. Self-contained apartments for young people with 24/7 care.
And we used to go and see Siobhan during the time we were designing the building, and then we'd go and grab her and show her around and say, which room do you want to pick? And then that day that she got to move in and pull the lever and open the apartments was spectacular.
You know, when you see the impact on families particularly, then you get it. You know, you see the emotion and how grateful they are, and that's when it kicks home.
In 2007, Tim Marting joined Siobhan as one of the first Youngcare residents.
I could never explain what it was like going home that night, and we knew that Tim was safe and happy for the first time in all those years, and it was just heaven.
Excited, overwhelmed, and just finally Mum and Dad's place has moved on.
Moving into Youngcare, it was apparent that the positive environment and the brightness here, and with age-appropriate people, was just so encouraging. And we could see that Tim was starting to make his own decisions, speaking better, just growing.
It's my home, you know, so independence, freedom, it's just amazing facilities. Youngcare, fantastic, you know.
Ash, Kip and Luttsy on Nova 106.9.
7:36 now. As you know, we are heading to New York City to run the marathon. We're raising funds for Youngcare.
Enter Nova Brekkie trio Ash, Kip and Luttsy. Big-hearted supporters of Youngcare, about to take on the world's biggest marathon for the charity.
I can't think of a better cause. Youngcare.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
So who better for the Nova boys to bring along than a running buddy with the Youngcare spirit?
The Big Apple, mate. The Big Apple.
The Big Apple?
You ever been?
No.
Oh, that was so funny because it was a surprise.
Here's your sister, mate. You're coming over to New York. You're going to the Big Apple. You're coming with us, Tim. Yeah. Tim, we leave at lunchtime.
New York, New York. New York City for 1 week.
I might come with you, is that
Yeah,
all right?
why not? Why not? Why not?
Okay, that's one very excited marathon team. And 1 month to be ready for the run of our lives.
Tim was studying e-commerce at University of Queensland, mad keen on sport and going to the gym.
Commerce at uni, and then to now it's sort of different, the wheelchair. No, it's sort of, I suppose it's sad, it is, but just forget about the problems, you know, and the overhead, yeah.
Tim still goes to UQ, but for a different reason.
Up tall, Tim. Up tall, mate.
He doesn't want to stay in a wheelchair.
No way, no way, no way. Walk independently, yes it is.
And we'll go now, okay? Left foot through, good.
A lot of people give up, and without friends and family and a really strong support network of therapists around you, Tim has a great team behind him, and just as any elite athlete would have.
Because marathon, see? Marathon.
The New York Marathon.
Yeah, I know.
We'll get you primed for the Big Apple, mate.
The New York Marathon 2015. Suncorp Insurance is a proud supporter and foundation partner of Youngcare.
Just pumping the calves here, mate, you know.
In the countdown to New York, weekly fundraising runs are giving us the chance to train together. Tim's attacking the marathon in a customised ride from Wicked Wheelchairs, with a little pushing power from his friends. How are you, mate?
Good.
Check the wheels out.
Looking good.
This is it, eh? This is the actual chair that we're running with.
Yeah.
How much off-road are we planning on doing, Tim? Look at these wheels.
Lots.
Okay. You might have realised that a couple of us today are wearing the official New York City Marathon ASICS shoes. Now, no one has them in Australia yet except us. Well, when I say except us and you, because what we've done is we've got you. We don't have you wearing just dodgy shoes, so these are what you'll be wearing.
Thank you, it's awesome.
Pleasure, mate.
Go! At the end of the day, that's why we're doing it. It's for Youngcare and pushing that message. And excuse the pun, but we're pushing that message literally over 42.2k with Timmy in the saddle.
And we've got a lot of support behind us as well.
Yeah,
people spurring us on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Suncorp Insurance has been spectacular, haven't they?
Suncorp Insurance has been on Youngcare's team from the start. In 2006, the new charity needed seed funding, so founder Simon Lockyer nervously phoned a contact at Suncorp Insurance.
They had a benefit concert planned, and it was going to be their first big awareness to the public about what they were doing and their first major fundraiser. And they needed the funds, and I think he called me on the Friday and I think he needed the funds by the Monday, hence the nervousness. And, you know, my reaction was, how are we going to do this, firstly? But the fit had always been there for us. We could always understand, particularly from our people, our staff, what they do on a day-to-day basis.
Unfortunately, a business like Suncorp is seeing this kind of catastrophe happen. They're dealing with people who are sometimes thrust into the issue through acquired brain injury, through issues, through car crash. And it really made sense that we should be able to take this cause forward together.
The 60 Minutes story unfolded on the Sunday night, and by Monday lunchtime, we'd made a commitment to support the concert, which then actually turned into a beautiful partnership 10 years later.
A couple of the legends from Suncorp Insurance are here.
Two of the best here, mate.
It's a partnership that goes way beyond direct funding.
I think, staff really understand what Youngcare do, but as an organisation we do a lot of work to encourage the fundraising and the engagement. So there are a lot of events, kind of out in the street with the community. We also support some of the treks and larger fundraising activities that they do.
Yes, I did get involved in Youngcare's Simpson Desert Challenge, which was a trek across the centre of the Simpson Desert. It was 8 days and nearly 300 kilometres of walking. The whole experience is designed to give some people an idea of what it is like for a young person to live in a nursing home. It's an isolating experience. You actually have very few choices. So while my challenge ended after 8 days, there are people out there for whom the challenge doesn't ever end.
Dr. Trina Stewart lives at Youngcare's Wooloowin share house.
Well, I was a medical research scientist, so 35 years experience in that field. Got my own lab at the Griffith Uni Gold Coast campus, and bought my own first home. So all my ducks were starting to get in a row, and the rug was just pulled out from under me, and I had a stroke, which has left me left side paralysed.
Trina spent 4 months in hospital before moving into aged care.
It was very depressing. It was anyone who knew me just saw me go straight downhill. So when I was offered this position in Youngcare, it was just a feeling like I'd won lottery. I think one of the biggest advantages of this place, obviously it's very new.
Trina shares the house with 3 other residents. Each has a private suite and individual care. Yet independence is encouraged. Okay, so you can control pretty much everything from here then, Trina?
I can adjust all the bed and then the blinds and the fan, and then we can adjust all the lighting.
Wow.
Operate the TV.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great to be able to not have to call carers all the time and be able to do a bit more by ourselves.
What kind of change has it meant to come and live in a place like this with other young people?
Oh, it's just a whole different ethos here. They really want to help you achieve your goals, and I can do a bit of walking now, which I couldn't do before I came here, and things are very much looking up.
And life's quite a lot brighter.
Much, much brighter, yes.
There's a bright future for Youngcare too. So, Sam, you've come a long way, really, Youngcare, haven't you?
We have indeed. We're 10 years old. I don't think those 4 great mates have had any idea, or really still any idea, of what they've achieved and the fantastic legacy. Where we are now is amazing.
Youngcare has homes in Brisbane and the Gold Coast, and 3 new developments, 1 in New South Wales. What would be the proudest achievements, do you think, then, in those 10 years?
I think it's always the buildings, and I think seeing those lives change so dramatically for the young people.
Hey mate, how are you doing? How are you doing, mate? Good to see you.
But the real game changer, I think, is the grants. So we have 2 grants programs. One is called At Home Care Grants, and that's about preventing young people going into aged care. Then we had a new grants program last year, which Suncorp Insurance supported for us, and that one is called Home Soon, and that's about getting people out of aged care.
Suncorp Insurance also funds Youngcare Connect.
So that's a support phone line. It's national, open to anyone, and what that's about is helping families who are in that dire need of not knowing who to turn to.
And your son, he's got muscular dystrophy.
So this morning there will have been 7,000 young people who will have woken up in aged care, and that still is fundamentally not right. So still an awful lot of work to do, which for an organisation that doesn't receive any recurrent government funding, we're unique in what we do in Australia, but we've still got a lot more to do.
A lot to do, a long way to go. After the break, that's what we face on the streets of New York.
Hello.
Tim's family and friends are over for a barbie.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
New York is just days away, and everyone's excited.
I think he's going to enjoy it so much, and he's going to really get a kick out of it. Seeing the place. He's come on a hell of a lot, and he's going to get better and better too as he goes along.
And here's to New York.
New York!
New
York! Yes!
Going to New York for Tim has given him that whole sense of purpose, and I think Tim's bag was probably packed, pretty much straight away. He's so excited.
A mere 23 hours of flying and we reach our destination. Tired but elated. For weeks, the marathon has been a distant challenge. This is where reality kicks in.
New York. Yes.
8 million people call New York home. There's never a quiet moment in the bustling Big Apple. Yet the energy of this incredible city kicks up a gear during Marathon Week.
Hi from New York City.
Competitors from more than 120 countries are here, with supporters, spectators and media from across the globe.
There's no way I can get out of it. I'm running tomorrow.
Even registration is on a grand scale.
Peter, the Yanks don't do anything by half, do they? There's 50,000 people running tomorrow. It's actually the biggest marathon in the world.
10,000 volunteers alone, and the biggest thing is spectators. 1 million, over 1 million people line the streets of New York, the 5 boroughs of New York.
How many volunteers did you say?
10,000.
I think it's going to take nearly half of them to carry us to the finish line.
That finish line will be at Central Park, Manhattan's Green Heart. New Yorkers come here to relax. No such luck for us. Our trainer and teammate Ricky Dummigan has planned a final stretch before the big run.
Boys, I thought we'd do a little bit of movement, just obviously before tomorrow, and then but we're here. Anyway, we'll do a bit of movement prep and open our hips up, a bit of a stretch before we, and then we'll just do a couple of run-throughs, eh?
All going well, this will be us 24 hours from now, running into the park as a team, having conquered 42 kilometres through the streets of New York. In the city that never sleeps, it's an early night for a marathon day ahead.
This is Today in New York. And as the marathon runners gather outside this morning, clouds are low and thick. Will we see any rain for the runners?
I actually feel really privileged. I feel really privileged to be running for such a great cause. Tim is everyone's got to know him through this whole journey. He's a terrific bloke.
Top of the line, first place. Yep, first place, the marathon.
So I suppose there's a personal goal to complete my first marathon, but also to do this with Tim for Youngcare. That's why we're here. It's a fun bunch of guys to be doing this with. So yeah, that's going to be. If it's not fun, we'll stop. So we're going to have fun all the way.
Some famous sportsman once said, that you can only look after the things within your control, and my nipples are within my control, and for that reason, as you can see, I'm taping the nipples.
Look, I think we all know Ricky's the fittest out of all of us, but he's also doing an extra push on the chair, so that'll bring him back. It's like being weighted in a horse race.
I'm ready to hurt. Let's go.
And more than 50,000 people are participating in this year's marathon, and each of them has an incredible story that inspired them to train for 4 months for these 26 miles that they are about to run. Some of them are running for fitness goals, others are running for sick loved ones or to raise money for a charity.
Go Youngcare! Go Nova! Just a great day. It's an awesome day. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it.
How you feeling, Timmy, all right?
Fantastic.
Yep.
Unbelievably fantastic.
We're 12 Ks in, mate, so pretty amazing the crowd, aren't they?
Oh, fantastic crowd.
Yeah.
Staten Island, Queens, Brooklyn, the Bronx and Manhattan. Every step through New York's 5 boroughs brings a thunderous reception.
Spectacular, like the people, the support you get's phenomenal. Like without the crowds, I would have stopped about 10 Ks away. I'm battling bad as it is. The quads are just cramping up. Boys are a bit ahead of me. I've got a bit of work to do to catch them. But it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing.
One hell of a traffic jam. The spirit is amazing. Everybody coming by, just pulling us along and high five.
I just think what a wonderful cause it is, and I can just see how much he's enjoying it. It's just, it makes me feel happy. Just surrounded by so many different colours and people, and just the atmosphere, feeling a bit of pain, and then think about why we're doing it. I feel quite emotional right now, and I feel very, very happy, very, very privileged and proud to be running for Youngcare today. Awesome.
4 hours in, and the course returns to Manhattan, where the cheers of complete strangers drive us on. Cramps force Luttsy to slow up, and even Tim feels the strain of long hours in the chair.
Leg.
But 42 kilometres from where we left Staten Island, the finish line in Central Park is the beacon bringing us home.
People of New York, the support that you got during that, I mean, they were supporting everyone, but then when they saw the chair, the extra swell of encouragement was unreal. So that was a real highlight. That was, yeah, I'll remember that forever.
It was a tough goal from the start, but if Tim and Youngcare teach you anything, it's that determination can take you anywhere.
It was tough, but it was, I don't know, it was an unreal day. I know I'm going to remember it for a long time. Great, it's amazing, really. We did it, we got here.
The hard part is over. From tomorrow, New York is our playground.
Time now to relax and enjoy New York.
New York, New York. The city's so nice, they named it twice. And a city so big, brash and bursting with icons, seeing it all is the tourist equivalent of running a marathon. So, let's get cracking. First up, a harbour cruise to visit Lady Liberty.
The pedestal it's standing on took so long and expensive to build that the statue itself was in crates for 2 years.
Is that right? Is that what they say?
There's not many people know that.
No, that's quite a fact.
But he just said it.
Oh, right.
Next, all aboard a New York sightseeing bus.
Concrete Jungle, really famous for the diversity and for having the best tour guides in the entire city.
It's nice to just escape the rat race for a bit.
It is. You can sort of just look down and see what's going on around us. There's people in a hurry going everywhere, but...
it's a river, like a river of just humanity.
The New York subway is the other way to get around, albeit underground. And what Big Apple visit would be complete without a hot dog, if you're game.
It's just so processed.
And speaking of game, a night with the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden is pretty hard to beat. But if you're talking about sporting heroes, then these guys are the real deal. Tim and I have come to the Bronx to meet the all-star players of the New York Rollin' Knicks, a leading team in national wheelchair basketball. Captain Patrick Anderson is a legend in the sport, a multiple gold medal Olympian.
This has been a big part of your life, hasn't it? Basketball from a young age?
Yeah, I can say it was my life for a long time. I got hurt when I was 9 years old, hit by a drunk driver, but I was lucky to be introduced to the sport just a year later. So I've been playing since I was 10. Played for Team Canada from when I was 17, through my 20s, and went to college and played at university. So yeah, it's kind of my life for a long, long time.
Tim's involved with sporting wheelies back home, but these guys are a whole other ballgame.
The important thing for Tim, who, running the marathon with him the other day and then coming to see what's happening here is to realise how far you can go with your sport.
I think the limits are being pushed all the time. Wheelchair sports, adaptive sports have really come of age in the last little while. From equipment to training to awareness. I think if you can say this, never been a better time to be disabled.
They're coming very close to us very quickly. Chris, are we right here?
No, we're fine.
Christopher Knoll works for New York City Parks, responsible for improving accessibility across the city.
1/10 of our total population has disabilities. So, for the most part, we have about 800,000 people, adults, in New York City with a disability. And obviously with New York City Parks, we do more than just basketball. We try to get different teams depending on a person's disability, so that everyone in New York City feels like they have a sport they can play.
Yes.
And that's the one thing why we do a lot of adaptive sports here in New York City Parks, because a lot of times people feel sheltered, like, oh, I have a disability, no one's gonna understand. But when you go to a practice site and you see other people with disabilities and they're playing, once you do that, then you're almost like, wow, I could do anything.
Tim's no stranger to beating the odds, but these incredible athletes have given him an inspiring lift.
Next on 3. 1, 2, 3, next!
Let's go, guys.
Thanks, guys.
After the break, the ultimate heroism.
It is the brotherhood. It's the guys taking care of each other.
We meet the brave men of the New York Fire Department. Another magic morning in Manhattan. But today, we're heading across the East River to Brooklyn. While Tim rests up, the Nova Boys and I have the rare privilege of meeting some of New York's bravest. The fire department of New York's rescue companies are manned by elite, highly trained firefighters. Rescue 2 serves Brooklyn, and we've been invited by retired Lieutenant John Nolan to take a look around.
You know, what's always been the greatest thing about the fire department is that, you know, it's like you leave your immediate family and you come to work and there's another family.
Sitting in the firehouse with John, there's a real sense of home. Home to a band of brothers who risk death on a regular basis.
It's become, you know, instilled in you from the time you get on the job, the whole team effort. You know, and you're laying your life down on the line with the guy that's next to you. And it's what makes you go and do your job, you know, because it's...
And John, there are plaques on the wall here in memory of the guys who didn't come back.
And that's what it's about also. It's about keeping their memory alive, and it's a respect thing.
Perhaps the deepest respect is reserved for those New York fireys who died in the terrorist attack of 9/11.
September 11th opened up the eyes to the world about what firefighters do, but they've been doing it for 100 years. And of the 343 guys that were killed that day, you know, we have guys that had almost 40 years on the job, which means they could have retired 20 years ago. But because of the love of the job and the camaraderie and the family, you know, they stayed on for 20 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was some guys, it was the first time they ever went to a fire.
Yeah, it's not a job, you know. This is a vocation. It's a way of life. It's what, you know, it runs through your, it's in your bones and runs through your blood. You know, it's as dark as those days were. Like I never had a doubt. Like this is where I wanted to be.
With painful clarity, Captain Liam Flaherty recalls that September day.
It was pretty much started like just another day at work, and on one level it was just another day at work. But
it was a beautiful day, just like today. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. What was so devastating for the fire department is that the planes hit around 9 a.m. when the shift changed. So now there was more members in the firehouse. We had, you know, rigs loaded up with, you know, 10, 12, you know, usually when there's only six riding. So, you know, we especially, the New York City Fire Department especially got hit hard. Just devastating, you know, numbers, you know.
And a lot of us feel it's such an important pilgrimage for us to make, to come here and, you know, and to say thank you for what you guys did.
Well, I said this earlier, but, you know, the Australians, you know, and I'm not saying that because you're here, but you are the best people in the world in my book. You always have our back. And I had no doubt that when we were knocked basically on our ass, that you know, you would be the first country to kind of help pick us up and dust us off.
It's been an honour meeting the crew of Rescue 2. The least we can do is make a pilgrimage to the place where they lost so many brothers. The 9/11 memorial occupies half the site of the World Trade Center, destroyed in 2001. Trees, water, and a respectful stillness make this a rare, peaceful pocket of Manhattan.
I actually find it hard to describe exactly what I'm feeling, but just to know that one of the towers literally rose from this ground here, and we've all seen that footage however many times, over and over again, and to know that this was the place where life changed for all of us on that day. Every nation on Earth is affected by this.
Absolutely.
It's bizarre, isn't it? It's the magnitude of it freaks you out.
I feel like we've been in a party town for a week, but there's no party here. This is just everyone being quiet, thinking about it.
It's touching. Like even all these years on, it's still being here as a there's a spine-tingling sort of feel about it.
Yeah.
It's been a remarkable and emotional week in New York. But there's one of us who'll never forget the Big Apple. After all, it's where he turned 35 years young.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. Oh, amazing. Thank you.
All yours, mate, these pizzas.
Yeah, pizzas.
You're not allowed to leave until you eat every single one of them, you understand? Okay?
Oh, it's been great doing the week with Tim. I think when we were in Brisbane, he was always talking about coffee and pizza, and there's literally coffee and pizza everywhere here. But the only problem is he wants to stop at every coffee place and every pizza place, get a slice, because they're $1 for a slice.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Big as his expectations were, I don't think he fully understood how epic New York is. He's literally coming out of his shell right now and experiencing things, which is the essence of Youngcare. It's giving the things that we take for granted, like the dignity and independence and confidence.
Happy birthday to you.
He's a great ambassador for Youngcare, if you like. I mean, he's not an ambassador, he's living it. He is what Youngcare is about. And I think Tim, he thinks that he came with us, but we came with him.